It's me again. What a great intro. I'm Dina, aka No Ordinary Biologist. I'm a science communicator and soon to be PhD researcher. Today I'd like to take you through my wonderful academic journey from when I was a spud to me now. I've had a bit of a haircut since the last video. Look how short it is! In this series, I plan to document my whole PhD journey from the application process all the way through to me graduating and becoming a doctor. In this video, I'm going to go through my academic journey up to date. So, right from back at high school, through my GCSEs, A-levels, right the way up until now, where I start my PhD in 7 weeks. I'll be moving to Liverpool mid-September, so in a couple of weeks, to get started with my PhD. Let's roll it right back to 2014. If you were like me during my high school career, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I liked all of the sciences, and I couldn't really make a decision. So how did I go from having absolutely no clue about what I wanted to do to now specialising as a marine ecologist and marine conservationist? I don't actually know, to be honest. No. I started my A-levels in 2014. Obviously in the UK, A-levels are the step before you go to uni. And I did way too many A-levels. Way too many. I actually did 7 ASs. The standard is usually 4 ASs and 3 A2s, I think. The system's changed now, but obviously back in the day, that's what it was. So I did English literature, maths, further maths, biology, chemistry, anthropology, and computing. And I took forward English literature, maths, biology, and chemistry into the second year. I love learning, but I really did struggle throughout high school to kind of socialise with people. I always ended up getting into some sort of drama that I didn't want to be involved in. High school was not the place for me. I just didn't really fit in very well. At the end of my A-levels, which was 2016, I was accepted to study at the University of Sheffield. Sheffield! I fucking love Sheffield. My degree title was Biology with a Year Abroad, and it's an integrated master's degree. It's the MBio side. I still think that is available right now. I'll add it in if it is. This was with the Department of Animal and Plant Sciences. It's now changed to Biosciences. It's a bit more of a bigger umbrella now. Throughout my degree, I focused on biodiversity, wildlife conservation, ecology, all of kind of like the environmental side of biology. So my first year was 2016/2017. Again, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I kind of went into this degree thinking that I was going to go down the biomedical route. Yeah, and that didn't really happen. I ended up really enjoying the environmental sciences. That's a big focus at Sheffield as well. The personal statement that I put into my application was biomedical based. The uni actually sent me a letter to say, we want to accept you, but we think you're more suited to biomedical science. And I said, oh no, I can take some like extra modules and switch if I want to. I kind of want to stick to this degree. Obviously I'm glad I did. But it's good that it's quite flexible in that way, I guess. I was 19 when I started my first year at uni. Going on to second year. Second year was my year abroad. And I undertook this year abroad at the National University of Singapore. And I've done a kind of like exchange video on this. I'll link it somewhere there. And this is when my passion for environmental science really sprung to life. Being in the tropical environment was just amazing. I was able to kind of, trek through tropical forests and scuba dive in remote islands. And this was the first time that I'd had the opportunity to get involved in marine modules. I was also able to work as a conservation and research assistant at the Singapore Zoo again. What a dream. All of the details are in that video, so if you want to learn more about that, hop over. That was 2017 to 2018. I was 20 when I did that year abroad. So finishing my second year, coming to summer 2018. With Sheffield, I was able to take part in a field trip and I decided to go to the Arctic. So we went to Abisko in Sweden and did a bit of a mini research project in a group. Again, what a surreal place to be working at. This project wasn't marine based, it was terrestrial based, and I was looking at plants, which is a bit of a drastic turnaround from what I'm doing now. Probably my favourite memory from that trip was sitting by one of the lakes, which were absolutely freezing, obviously because you're in the Arctic, at midnight, and the sun was still up, so it's called the Midnight Sun. Going into my third year, 21, back into Sheffield. This year was when I really got into conservation. I love learning all about the policy, the socioeconomics behind conservation. My projects were mainly focused around tropical forest conservation. I absolutely love the terrestrial work, and I don't necessarily want to give it up. I want to be able to do both, but I just think now I've kind of made the decision that marine is where my heart is a little bit. I also took up the role as a global ambassador and scholar to help other students going through the same exchange program process as me to, have a bit of a support system. Summer 2019, I took part in the Summer Undergraduate Research Programme at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. Oh, what another lovely experience that was. I've done another video on that trip. There you go. And this experience has actually played a massive role in me securing the PhD that I did, because it focuses on a very similar topic, and also supervisors and researchers that I worked with in Hong Kong have done lots of collaborations and are very friendly with the supervisors that I have now for my PhD. So it all worked out very nicely. I've also just recently published my first paper. Yes, thank you. From this research experience, so it was so beneficial for me to go, and it really kind of helped me springboard my research career, if you will. In these videos that I'm linking, I go into a lot more detail. I talk about how I funded the trips, kind of delved a bit deeper into the pros and the cons of studying abroad, so check them out. Okay, back in Sheffield for my 4th and final year. So this was my master's year. Remember, I've done an integrated master's degree. And this year was definitely the most challenging, especially since halfway through we got a global pandemic, as we all know. So I was 22 going into this year. The project that I conducted was actually very niche and a bit different to what I'm doing. I think we've got a common theme here that I don't actually know what I'm doing. The project that I did, it looked at strategic conservation marketing. What the fuck does that mean? In non-scientific language, I was looking at how to optimize stuff like adverts and video campaigns and stuff around kind of like science communication to enhance charitable donations towards wildlife conservation NGOs like WWF. Really, really interesting work. Something that not many people would probably think about, I guess. It was a massive mashup between psychology, biology, marketing, communication. It was really, really interesting. I'm hoping to be working on 2 manuscripts from that work and getting them published hopefully by the end of the year, but we'll see, because my last one took 15 months, so. I also was awarded the J.G. Boswell Memorial Prize for this project, which is amazing. It's one of the graduate awards that Sheffield give out every year. I also worked as a science blogger, so I was able to practice not just academic writing, but also more science communication. And throughout this whole master's year, I was applying for PhDs and interviewing for them. I didn't secure a PhD in that year. Sad times. Feel sorry for me. But we'll get onto that in a minute. July 2020 came round, the pandemic was already in full swing. However, I still graduated with a first class honours. Again, thank you all. The graduation was held in my parents' back garden because we weren't allowed a ceremony. My ceremony's been rescheduled for March 2022, so that's only 2 years after I actually graduated. So you may ask, what have I been doing for the past year? Not much! Okay, that's a lie, I have been doing some things. I finally started my SciComm page on Instagram, which I was threatening to make for nearly a year. Please consider following it. Also, after graduation, I got in contact with one of my previous lecturers at Sheffield to ask if he had any work, and luckily enough he had some funding and he had some data that needed to be sorted out, so I was able to work as a graduate research assistant from September 2020 until roughly a month ago. I've also been working a non-academic job just to try and save a little bit of money. It's actually with my family business, so I've been able to kind of help out my family as well, which is nice. And I've also put in a lot of PhD applications. I put in a total of 22 applications. I only got 1 acceptance. But that's all you need, the 1 acceptance. If you didn't know already, marine science is extremely competitive and has very limited opportunities and funding. It is so hard to secure a place anywhere, so it's not been a very nice year or so. I've done a video on mental health as a graduate and kind of like during lockdown as well. It's not a great combination. Again, I'll link it. So many linked videos in this one. Yeah, so I had lots of applications to get ready, lots of interviews to prep for. That took up quite a few months worth of work. And I finally got an acceptance this March. Hallelujah! My PhD application timeline will be a whole other video because I'll just be here forever. And here we are in August 2021, and I start in 7 weeks. I'm now winding down and I'm going to take a nice long holiday to prepare mentally. I'm very privileged that I can do that since I've been able to work a bit over the last year. So we're up to date. If there's anything else that you'd like to know about any of that journey, drop it down in the comments and I will answer accordingly. Like I said, this PhD diaries journey will be, you know, jam-packed full of weekly vlogs, days in the life, kind of talking through my research, so it should be fun. My PhD is going to be at the University of Liverpool. It's also in collaboration with University of Sheffield and the Marine Biological Association in Plymouth. If you're interested in keeping up with my PhD journey and also getting inside tips of a PhD researcher, please subscribe to my channel. I would highly appreciate it. That's all for this video. See you in the next one.